Hello, everyone. My name is Trent, but most of you know me as IT Guy, and welcome back to the Blockchain Gaming Podcast. In this episode, I have Khag on the show to talk about the interesting changes in Coin Hunt World in the past couple of weeks, including all the updates to come and his Coin Hunt World adventures. So, without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Khag, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Trent. Thank you for having me on for the second time, or kind of the third time, if you want to
That's
count that that misrecording we had.
Oh, right. Oh my God. I actually blanked. You're right. So that's funny because that was the only time ever I had actually had to redo a full
Yeah,
podcast. That was a little painful, but you know what?
it was.
Um, that's actually one of my most listened to podcasts.
Yeah,
So the redo obviously did something good. I think we touched on all the same points. It
we
was
did. I
yeah.
remember trying to like replicate the same thing that we did the day
Mhm.
before, but it was strange. So in a way,
That
I was your first repeat guest, but not really.
well, I'm happy to have you on a second time. Last time we spoke, it was mid-October. You know, you had just come off a leaderboard push in September,
Mhm.
and the Halloween event was right around the corner. So, I guess my first question is, I, I mean, the game's changed so much. What are the updates that are so big that we can't ignore based on from last year to
Yeah.
now?
I mean, I think given that my last time on your show was about my leaderboard push then, and I'm going through that again right now.
Yeah.
The difference in how you compete on the leaderboard is huge now, right? You can't you can't do much resin dumping because
Mm-mm.
there's not a lot of cranes left, and now none. But
Yep.
you can't reuse user vaults, right? You can't destroy and rebuild. Not that that's something I ever did, but it's a
Hmm.
thing that people did. You can't do that,
Hmm.
and you have to walk 8 milestones a day, which was not
Right.
even a thing back then. So,
Hmm.
last year when I competed, I was out like driving for
Hmm.
6 7 hours a day, like just you work during the day and then you drive in the evening and then you sleep and then you repeat. Now it's easier. I mean, there's a lot
Hmm.
less to do, but yeah, I mean that's the biggest difference for sure.
That is a huge difference, and it's not only just destroying your own user vaults and refilling them. It's even if you come across dozers now and you're like, oh, I can get the leader.
Right,
No, you
right,
can't get the leaderboard points anymore. Even if it was a legit one, just sitting there, poor guy,
exactly,
he's not getting
exactly.
his dozer filled.
There's no motivation for me to do that.
Hmm.
I mean, I'll be honest. I did three of us in Hawaii
Hmm.
for the trip, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Hmm.
We filled the dozer of a player there, but like we had met him. He worked at the place that we stayed, and like we're like, oh
Right.
yeah, we'll go fill your dozer, like just because it
Nice.
was fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the leaderboard points. But yeah,
Of course.
why would I bother doing that for
No,
somebody,
no, not anymore.
Right.
So I guess typically I ask, what's your like your accomplishments or what you're most proud of. I've asked you that in the past, but since we last spoke, is there anything that has reinvigorated the love for the game, or something that you're still really proud of? You can say what we'll get into. I'm sure you have a few on this
Yeah,
list.
I mean, I've always been proud of my work on the wiki and
Hmm.
how involved I've been with that. But honestly, just what I did recently, the string of how many yellow vaults can I hit in a week? Like
Hmm.
that was fun to plan that out, make that trip, get all that done. So right now it might be that. The other thing that I was kind of proud of until I heard your last episode was I managed to get all 8 milestones done, walking, not running, in I think it was just like 30 seconds under 90 minutes. So we'll say
Hmm.
90 minutes. And I
Oh
thought
wow.
that was
Hmm.
fantastic. And then I listened to your last episode with
Jason.
was Jason, yeah,
Hmm.
Jason J, and he
Yep.
was like, oh yeah, I did it in 71 minutes, and I was like,
Crushed it. Yeah.
whoa, like I want to go down and visit him. He has a yellow vault. He's telling me I should come down there and visit and hit his yellow vault, but I want to go down there with him and do it
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
71 with him.
Yeah, he's an excellent guy. You know what? I took a page out of his book yesterday. I was running behind and I was full on full tilt sprinting trying to get to this like final walking quests. It's crazy how good running actually works for
Yeah.
tracking the steps and really pushing you on the walking quests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps you get it done way quicker if you run. It's
Yeah.
definitely harder.
I find it I've had better, I guess you would call it like step tracking. If I'm
Hmm.
very consistent in my arm motion and I'm holding the
Yeah.
phone, right? Like if you're not if your arms are flailing around all goofy or your phone's in your pocket, I don't think it doesn't seem to track the steps quite as well.
Hmm.
But if
Hmm.
you're very, precise and intentional about your arm movements, you can. Now, I'm not saying like shake the phone up and down, but like, just in your normal motion, like make sure your arms are have a good swing going on.
Yeah.
That's my tip. That's what I recommend to everybody that says they have problems with step tracking.
And you know what? On Thursday, me, Will, Marlov, and another player, Jay Hands, we did a mini road trip. We took a page out of your book. You kind of inspired us to hit all the yellow vaults, and it was funny because it was after 8 p.m. after our reset time, and I was like, hey, make sure you guys have the game open while we're walking to the vaults. Get a
Hmm.
quester there, and each of us had a different way of like shaking the phone.
Right.
Will's was definitely the best. He's like he's like got it down to a science.
Oh, he's the
Um,
expert. He's done more
he-
walking than anybody.
for sure. And I was the bum who put it in his pocket. So I get mine done in about 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I need to come up on that time, especially if I'm trying to complete it every day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a lot of fun. We took the page out of your book. Um, Obviously not as extravagant.
But you did
But
what you could, and honestly, yours was probably a lot of fun because you had a group of four people out there
that's
doing it,
right.
and a
Yeah.
good portion of mine was on my own. So
Yeah. That's very true. We were rooting for at least one of us to get the RNG
I
blueprint. We would have been pumped.
I know I went out and hit yellow vaults with KSG last weekend
Mhm.
and with Beats last weekend and was rooting for both of them as
Of
well
course.
because
Yeah.
I mean, like it's cool to have the monopoly or whatever, but there's only one other player right now and you can't really start a cartel with two people. I really need a
No.
third. I
Yeah.
need a third.
Yeah.
Have a
You're
proper
right.
cartel.
Well, the next person to get it's going to be real lucky. We had this kind of inside joke, if one of us gets it, we're messaging Manel immediately, like how much for this blueprint? This thing's worth a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know why. Like I just feel lucky. I guess I
Are you
did hit
looking
a
to
lot of
sell it?
yellow vaults. No, not at
Okay.
this point.
Not yet.
I briefly considered selling the Tiki Chief blueprint just
Mm-hmm.
because I assume it's very unlikely that I'll ever be able to print another one. So it's
Right.
for me, it's just collectible at this point. What else am I
Right.
going to do with it? I could sell it and get a ridiculous amount of keys,
Mm-hmm.
or just hold it for the collectability. But
Yeah, that's totally up to you. I'm not in the market for that one.
yeah,
That one's the collector's market, I think for sure. But
yeah,
I'm sure it's going for ridiculous keys. That's another Manel DM and see what he's
yeah.
up to.
That would definitely be like a prearranged type of
Yeah,
scenario.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so technically you're in the middle of a leaderboard. Well, you are in the middle of a leaderboard push. You're number one right now, global. And you didn't start the month off like that at all. Did you know that you were going to be, going for a leaderboard push this month, or was it one of those ones halfway through where you're like, oh, there I
It
am?
wasn't quite it wasn't quite halfway through.
Hmm.
So I had this trip to Hawaii planned. We
Right.
booked the tickets in the first or second week of July, and first of all, I was very reluctant, hesitant to even go on the trip. Just financial concerns, like it's a lot of
Hmm.
money to spend. And anyway, ended up that I'm going on this trip. The tickets are
Yeah.
booked, and on August 1st, uh, Kata, who went on the trip with us, we'd been
Right.
talking a lot, excited about the trip, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm changing my return flight plans. I know where there's the last QB crane in the United
Hmm.
States. And
Hmm.
if you want to go with me, I think we could both fill it. Like that would be fun if the two of us could fill a crane." And this was like 4 hours maybe before reset on August 1st. So
Okay.
my first thought is if I'm going to go put a lot of resin in this crane, like I could reasonably compete this month. And I
Yep.
didn't do my I wasn't really. I kind of stopped doing walking quests. Like it just
Right.
wasn't important to me. I was collecting mystery boxes. I wasn't hunting much, just taking it easy. And I was
Yep.
like,
Been there.
I need to leave right now and go do my walking quests if I'm going to compete. So it
Yeah.
ended up that I didn't do that
Oh,
evening.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I did no walking quests on the first day, but starting the following day, still hadn't committed to going to the crane, but in preparation, I said I need to walk every day just in case.
Right.
Um, and 5 or 6 days later, just a few days before the trip, I changed my. That's when I made the decision. Okay, I'm going to change my flight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to route through where the crane was in Coachella, California, and I'm going to turn this into a leaderboard run. So officially, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I decided, 5 or 6, 7 days in.
Right.
Yeah.
And did that decision also include, hitting all the yellow vaults, that you ended up doing? Okay.
Yeah. So trying to, right. So I'm on the East Coast. We're going to Hawaii and coming back from Hawaii. There's no like direct flights, right? I have to
Yeah.
have a layover in either LA or Phoenix, and they're both about 3 to 4 hours from the Coachella crane. So I'm like, do I do I set myself up for like a really long, like 8-10 hour layover and like try and
Mm-hmm.
rent a car and drive and trying to find a flight and or do I go to the local airport, the small airport near Coachella, which turned out to be really expensive to try and get flights to there. So in looking at like the flight options available, it ended up making the most sense to land in Phoenix, rent a car, drive to LA because I could get a really late flight out of LA and not have to
Uh,
stay somewhere in California or Arizona overnight. So I
right.
could get a late flight out of. So it kind of just became the cheapest, easiest option to drive between the two. And then if I'm going to be
Right.
in Phoenix and I'm going to be in LA and I'm going to be driving in between, why wouldn't I try to hit every yellow vault that I can on the way? So
Yeah.
that's it. Just kind of happened that it made sense to do that, and then the plan became, okay, well, how many yellow vaults can I really pack into this trip? How fun
Right.
can I make it?
Mm-hmm.
So then my flight out of LA back to the East Coast, I picked one that had a 3 hour layover in Boston, so I could squeeze
Mm.
some in there, and the whole thing kind of grew based upon what flights were available. So just
That's
it all fell into
epic.
my lap in a way. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably the only way that this could ever happen.
yeah,
I'd say trying to plan that would be an absolute nightmare from the
yeah,
start. It's got to
yeah,
fall in your lap. The layovers have to be perfect. The
yeah.
time has to be perfect, right?
It really did just
Hmm.
kind of work out by luck.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was the RNG QB, wasn't it?
I don't know
It
what
must
it was about that day, that 4 or 5 days, but to cap it off with the RNGQ, like luck was on my side for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I know let's get into the meat. I want to hear, because my original, what I wanted to hear was all about the Hawaii trip, right? This was the one that excited me. I think that it excited everybody because, you guys had been talking about it in front of us basically for so long, when we wanted to know what was going on. And then, they, Zach and Beats obviously had Kata on the podcast, and there wasn't a whole lot of detail. So I'd love some some more detail. Here's where I want to go with it. Um, you know, when you get there, you know,
Yeah,
so you fly there and you get there. What happened? How long are you there for? And what do you do on the first day? What do you do on the second day? Or
yeah,
however long
for
you're there
sure,
for?
for
Yeah.
sure. So I was not the first one to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Kata and Corkio both landed Tuesday midday.
Okay.
Um, I think they both had really early flights. My flight didn't leave Philadelphia until like 9 a.m. I didn't get to Hawaii until about 4 p.m. local time. And when
Right.
I get there, I had already been awake for like, I think I counted it was like 19 hours because
Oh
I
no.
was so excited I couldn't sleep. I was up at like
Yep.
3 a.m. before my flight. So I land in Hawaii awake for 19 hours, and the day's just kind of, it's 4 p.m. Like there's still plenty of time left in the day to
Mm-hmm.
hunt, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
Makiki Tiki and Corkio come to the airport to pick me up.
Oh
The
wow, they meet
airport
you
is
there.
like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
was he was like, I kept saying like I can take a Uber, I can ride the
Mm-hmm.
bus. There's a public bus that's right from the airport. He's like, no, no, no. I want to pick everybody. Like they were great hosts,
Yeah.
all the local Hawaiians. But so yeah, he picks me up. We go to where we're staying at the YMCA that Makiki Tiki and his brother Psycho 808. I don't know if they're directors or upper management, but they're
Mhm.
involved in the operation of this place,
Right.
and they're letting Corkio and I stay there.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and so yeah, we meet at the YMCA. We text Kata, who's staying at a hotel nearby, and he walks over, and we wait for Jenny 808 and Psycho 808 to
Mhm.
show up. We're kind of in the lobby area, and then we all go out on a walking hunt. Oh, on the way from the airport to the YMCA, we get off the highway real quick and we go do the Iolani Yellow Vault. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
yeah, that's
Yep.
just me, Corkio, and Makiki Tiki. So we hit
Yep.
that. Obviously, perfect because first question, never done
Mhm.
it. Beautiful palace. There's some very interesting looking trees. All the trees in Hawaii were very interesting because it's
Huh.
nothing that grows anywhere where I live. You know what I mean? They have banyan trees and palm trees and all these other kinds of trees I don't know the names of, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I found the
The floral. Yeah.
yeah, all the different plants and stuff like very
Awesome.
interesting. And
That's
Makiki Tiki kind of works in that field. He does something with
oh cool. Very
biological
cool.
plants and such. So like he knew the name. He's like, oh, that's a such and such. That he knew everything.
You're
He's a
getting
really
the
sweet
full
dude.
tour, right?
Yeah, we got the best tour guide.
So quickly to interrupt. So
Yeah.
after landing and being in the airport, I got to imagine, as you're there to play Coin Hunt World. So you
Yeah.
open up the app.
Oh
What's
yeah.
that look like? What's that look like?
So the airport, not very much. Like the
Right.
airport's
Disappointing.
off, but when we
Okay.
get past the yellow, they near the first yellow vault in the city, there was some stuff. But when we get to the YMCA is right on
Yeah.
the edge of Waikiki, and you can see
Mhm.
all the user vaults going,
Yeah.
in that direction, and that's where we're gonna take, and that's where you kind of start salivating a little bit. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is juicy.
Yeah, of
Anybody
course.
that wants to look at Coin Hunt map, you'll see it. Like
Hmm.
it's crazy. And I mean, if you look at the leaderboard right now, Makiki Tiki hasn't. I mean, he's
Like
not
top 10. Yeah.
dumping resin. I don't think he's printing anything. I can't imagine what he would be printing. He's like maybe eighth or something global right
Yeah.
now, and all he does is walk this area every day. That's it. That's all he does. So,
Yeah.
you know, it it's
It's a lot of
possible.
vaults.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway,
That's awesome.
that's the tour
Yeah.
they take us on. We all meet up at the lobby. We're
Hmm.
going out still, before the sun's going down, and they tell us like, normally we go out quite a bit later, but like we want to go out for a long walk, show you everything there is to see.
Yeah.
There's no reason to sit around and do nothing. You guys are here to hunt. Let's go.
And not only that, but to see Hawaii, I
Yeah,
imagine, right? You
right.
definitely,
I'm
it's almost like a mini vacation, right?
right. I'm only there
Yeah.
for like 28 hours, 30 hours,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't want to waste any time. I want to go out and see as
Hmm.
much as I can in as short a time as possible. So,
Yeah.
they take us. There's all these like walking paths and trails. Like I guess it's a public park, or it's just the green areas around some of the big hotels. There's winding paths with nice plants and stuff. We cut through some hotel grounds. We go to the beach. There's a green vault right on the beach, Waikiki
Nice.
Beach. And it's all just a lot of walking, and he's given us the whole tour. That here's Plumeria, right? Like we get from
Yeah.
the Hawaii event. I took a picture of like a legit actual one.
Oh, wow.
um yeah, I mean, it was so fun just to talk to these players that we've
Yeah.
known and seen on the leaderboards for so long, but in person, and meet them and just socialize together. So
Totally.
for several hours, we walked through Waikiki, and we stopped at a place and got some ice cream. Like there was this little homemade ice cream place like behind the like Trump Hotel or something there,
Yeah.
like just in this random side street, and it was amazing. They had all these, like, they had like mango and pineapple
Oh,
and
wow.
a bunch of different tropical flavors, and it's all
Mhm.
homemade. Everybody loved it. We ended up kind of finishing our walking at the other end of Waikiki at a place that does poke bowls,
Oh, yeah.
tuna and salmon and all that. We were we almost actually, we didn't know it at the time. We found out the next day. Bullish and his wife were there just shortly before we got there at the same exact place. So like we would have, and none of us know what they look like. So
Mhm.
even if we had been there at the same time, we wouldn't have,
Yeah.
like, we could have been right in line behind them before we, somebody would have said coin
Right.
hunt, and they would have turned around and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so we
For
almost
sure.
crossed paths with them, but like
Hmm.
it was such a nice evening. That was probably the most fun that I had, like, out of the entire trip, was just that first couple hours there, because it
Yeah.
was it was just all socializing. It was great.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a lot of fun. If you've grouped up, before in a coin hunt setting, it's not even really about being efficient or hitting even vaults, but you know it, especially you. I mean, you've been on a couple of podcasts. It's super
Mhm.
easy to talk to other Coin Hunt World players about Coin Hunt World, but when you're talking to them face to face, it's like 90% of the conversation. You just get consumed by it. A lot of
Yeah.
fun. You learn
Yeah.
so much. That's a very unique setting for sure.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
you, of course, you get to talk to them about things that aren't coin hunt. What do you
Yeah,
do for work? And like,
exactly.
have you ever
You
been to
learn you.
Hawaii before? And
Mhm.
it's so much more fun than socializing on the Discord. It is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's better. I mean, it's more fun to hunt as a group. I think that it's very easy to go out and say that. It's
Absolutely.
it makes hunting alone boring.
And every time we get to a green vault, everybody huddles up and says,
Yeah.
okay, which category should I pick? Blue
Mhm.
vaults, everybody does their own thing. Nobody
Yeah.
needs to
You
help
can talk
anybody.
through a blue vault. Yeah.
That's right. But you get to a green or a yellow, and I'll
Mhm.
admit, I got less perfects on blues when we were in a group because you're
Yeah.
so busy chit chatting that you're
Yeah.
not, and that's okay. I don't
Yeah.
mind losing the 3 cents, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm having a good time. But the green vaults, everybody shuts up and we take
Yeah.
turns one at a time. Like, anybody that's hunted in a group kind of already knows that's the way to do it. But and
Yeah.
then, of course,
Exactly.
we finished the night basically. After we ate, we walked down towards the beach. We got the yellow vault that's in Waikiki.
So
Um,
that's two yellow vaults at this point then.
yeah, the second
Okay.
one for me, and
For you. Yeah.
and for Corkio. Kata wasn't with us at Iolani, so it was his first, and
Yeah.
then Makiki, Psycho, and Jenny. For them, it's not a first question, but they all did it, and
Mhm.
I think they all got it right.
Yeah.
I kind of remember. I think Jenny did a wordplay yellow, and I think we got a perfect on it. So that was
Nice.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to brag here, but I just full on. I only go for perfects on yellow. I think I took that page out of, or I took that out of Rubix's page,
That was gonna
and
be my guess.
yeah, because he just, and it was funny because I was with Marlov and Will, and we did the Toronto one, and I got a bunch of horrible categories: art, history,
Mhm.
geography, I think. So I'm just spamming through these. I think I blew like three yellow keys, but eventually you get a perfect. For me that's worth it.
Yeah,
Three,
I
and
mean, it
it's like,
depends. It depends on what you value more. Like, do you value having as many keys as possible, so you want to be really stingy and not burn one, or do you value the leaderboard points or being high on the trivia leaderboard? Or I I really I like having keys, but I really like getting the leaderboard points and watching myself move up the trivia leaderboard.
yeah,
So I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm only going to think about it for a second before I choose an
yeah,
answer. Like, I do not
exactly.
want to get a grade. I want, and if you value crypto, I guess too, more than keys, you want to get the full payout instead of $7. You want 10. So
Absolutely.
burn a
And
key. Like, it's one
and
more buddy quest you got to do.
That's right. And we were doing the same thing, huddle up, who's the strongest at what category.
Hmm.
They made a joke called Rent a Trent. I was coming in clutch with the crypto trivia. I got perfects for people. Everybody got a
Nice.
couple of perfects, so I'd consider that totally like an efficient hunt. You only
Yeah.
hit four, but you get 35 or $37. That's pretty decent. You're walking away a winner there. So,
Yeah,
um,
especially when you're carpooling, right? So you guys
oh
are
yeah,
are driving
yeah.
from vault to vault, like you split
Hmm.
split the gas at the end or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, everybody
Yep.
walks away profitable.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Can't
That's
beat it.
that's the main thing. No, no, sir. Okay. So after dinner, you hit the second yellow vault. When is that the time where you start trekking up a volcano or?
No, no. It's
Okay.
like it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in
Okay.
the
Yeah.
evening now. Because it doesn't take well, I guess it would have been 3 hours. It doesn't really take 3 hours to do walking quest, but we stopped
Hmm.
and got ice cream, and we stopped and
Hmm.
ate, and we Makiki Tiki ran in a store because they had a sale on a brand of running shoes he really likes. Like,
Oh,
we
no.
we really like
Yeah.
took our time. And
Hmm.
so by the time we start moseying back to the Y where we're staying, um I might have had 6 7 walking quests done,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's like 9 o'clock at night, or maybe a little later. And so Makiki Tiki and Psycho and I are like, let's go finish this. Like, I can't go to
Hmm.
bed with that. Even though
No.
reset isn't for, till tomorrow afternoon. Like, let's do this now. So we
Yep.
go across the street from the Y to this outdoor mall, which is closed because it's after hours, but it's an outdoor mall. So, like, if you go to a mall that's a regular mall, like the doors are locked, right? But there are
Yeah.
no doors. So you can
Yeah.
like walk through
Walk
the
through.
mall, even though all the stores are closed. It's kind of
Yeah.
eerie. It's like being somewhere you're not supposed to be
Yeah.
when it's closed. It was strange. But yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we come over here and walk all the time. It's great. Like it's covered. It's shaded and
Yeah.
it's an easy way to get a lot of walking done. So
I'm assuming there's a lot of vaults there too.
yeah, oh yeah, with all the
Okay.
stores, right? I guess
That's gonna go. That's just regardless for the rest of the
yeah.
story. There's vaults
Yeah,
everywhere. Okay.
we didn't really go anywhere that didn't have vaults. I'm sure there's
Okay.
places, but like
Right.
we stuck to, I don't know, I guess out near the hike, out near the volcano, there's not
Right.
players
Yep.
out there or vaults. Although there should be. I mean, if they're I didn't really think about it, but if they're expecting, groups of 9 players to come once every couple months, like maybe somebody wants to stick a user vault or two out there
Yep.
just cuz. But or even I guess at the top, like I wonder how close to the top you could put a user vault. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I
Would have been
didn't,
a good idea to maybe bring yourself one. I don't know if you
right?
really
I could
want
have
to.
left one. Yeah, I could have left
Yeah.
one there just for
Just for
fun, like
sake. Yeah.
because a couple of them go up there, maybe twice a month to
Hmm.
to get their koa wood. Like I don't know. Just to say you have one there would be fun. It may not be
Exactly.
the
Leave a little
wisest
piece of
decision.
history. I mean, obviously I'm assuming you're going to take these memories probably for the rest of your life. Was definitely probably one of the coolest that, like, for me, if I did that kind of trip, those
Yeah.
those memories and the people you do it with are sticking with you for
Yeah,
quite a
absolutely.
while.
It was so much fun. I don't imagine I'll be forgetting any of it
No.
anytime soon.
Good. There's blogs and
Yeah.
podcasts that if you ever forget.
Yeah, exactly. I did take a lot of pictures too. So
Yeah, that's really good.
so anyway, I finished the walking
Mhm.
quests. It's maybe 11 o'clock. Go back to the Y. Go to bed.
Mhm.
I don't think I slept more than 4 hours, right? Because I woke up around 5 a.m., which is like 11 a.m. Eastern time,
Yeah.
right? So like my body's like, dude, it's time to get up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you only got 4 hours of sleep. It's 11 a.m. You got to get up.
Mhm.
So Corkio and I texted Kata and we said, are you awake? And all of us were awake at like 5
Yeah.
a.m. And just what are you gonna do? And we're like, let's go out, let's walk, let's go find breakfast. So I think we left at like 6.
Wow.
And Waikiki's like dead. There's not a lot of people. I mean, there's some people out doing their running and whatever.
Mhm.
But so we start walking and we're looking on Google Maps for somewhere to eat and found a decently recommended kind of cheap place for breakfast called
Mhm.
Eggs and Things.
Nice.
And I think we were texting in like our group chat about it, and Boswald's, who is in our group chat from when we were kind of planning this trip, messages
Right.
back and he's like, "Oh yeah, go there. It's I've been there before.
Nice.
It's good." So that's where we went. I had a Moco Loco or Loco Moco, I don't remember. I don't know, some traditional
Okay.
Hawaiian dish. It's like rice, a hamburger patty, an egg and gravy. Kind of weird
Yum.
combination, but yeah, it was delicious. Like
And at
it
this point,
was,
it's like lunchtime kind of for you too. So.
yeah, I mean, it felt like it, but I think we got there
Right.
like 7 in the morning when they opened. So yeah.
That's
So
funny. That sounds delicious. Yeah.
yeah, we sat on a bench on the street and we all ate breakfast, and then we just started walking back to the Y because we were
Right.
all going to be meeting up. Marvin's house, Marvin's mama,
Mhm.
and Habuteru were all going to be landing at the airport that morning, and
Oh,
they were
good.
going to drive right to the volcano. So the rest of us met at the Y, got in Psycho 808's van, and we all were at the volcano by, I want to say, like 11 maybe
Oh,
in the
okay.
morning.
Yeah. This is the big day.
Yeah, this is the big day.
Mhm.
So it's 11 in the morning. We're all kind of meeting at the parking lot. Waited around. Everybody's got different, they're coming from different places, so we don't all get there at the same time.
Mhm.
But we all get there. I'm sneaking around trying to get people to sign this card for Bullish and his wife. I wish I had. I can send you a picture after if you want
Yeah,
to put it on the screen.
I will.
I commissioned Kevo to make a kind of a wedding scene card, bride and groom, for Bullish and Baby Yoda, and they were their tikis, right? We had all picked what tikis we were
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
use. So I said these are the tikis that they are, and some of us he had everybody else in the background either as their custom QB or the tiki they were gonna use.
That's
So it's a
awesome.
nice, in front of the volcano, bride and groom, like you get the idea. And
Yeah.
we all signed it and we put it in a card and So I was like sneaking around trying to get that done. I didn't even get everybody to sign it at the top of the mountain. I was like, at the top of the volcano, I was like, oh, come on, come over here and sign this real quick,
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
get it done last minute. So I did that, and then
That's a nice gesture.
everybody was kind of like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they're taking time out of their honeymoon for this. I mean,
Yeah.
they wanted to do it, but still, like, it's their honeymoon. Like, we
Yeah.
gotta recognize it. So
Yeah.
it was nice. Everybody was happy that we had some way to acknowledge that for them. So
Yeah.
and they really, I don't think they expected anything like that. So
No, that's always good.
But so at this point, everybody's there. Some people brought some gifts, and we decided basically like let's do the gifts after. The one thing, hold on a second.
No worries.
The one gift that was handed out before we went up was the
you have it.
The
pins.
Pins,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I know it's kind of blurry, but shame on me. I forget what store this came from. Who made these?
I got these ones.
Oh, nice. Are those like Drinky Dink ones?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They're pins.
They're awesome.
And they're my custom QB.
Yeah, see that. I wish I had. I would like some relatively inexpensive so that I could give them out. Just cheap little pins of my custom. Imagine if every player that had a custom QB had, 10 or 15 of their.
It's like a business card.
Exactly. And then when I go hunt with somebody and I meet them for the first time, you give them a thing of you, and then they can wear it, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I met Khag, I met Trent. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That would be awesome. I wish I came back from the trip with a bunch of those.
Everybody's 9 of your pin, or 20. I don't know how many people you met. Probably a lot.
I was trying to count. I think I met 13 people, because there was our group of 9, and then some other Hawaiians that wanted to live there and wanted to go up with us. So so I think the group of 11 of us started up the mountain maybe 11:30, and
so when you get there and you're looking at the mountain, is it daunting? how
so it was funny as we were driving, because it's about a 30-minute drive, so as we're going, you can start to see it in the distance.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
I recognized it, but I don't think Kata and Korkio recognized it as soon as I did, because I said something like, oh, look at that. It's just like a hill over there, and they didn't really say anything. And as we got closer, you could just see a faint line. And I was like, that's the trail. I was like, guys, that's it. And as we get closer, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I said, guys, I think that's it. And they're like, no, that's not it. I'm like, look, the trail's right there. And Makiki Tiki's like, yeah, that's it. And we're still several miles away, and you can just see how it just goes up.
Yeah.
So by the time we got there, it was up at the base, and it was very steep up, and it was like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Are you prepped? Do you have like water, hiking gear? Okay, everyone's ready. Okay.
I had Camelback full of water, and an extra like 1.5 liter like big water bottle full of water in my bag. Most people didn't. I don't think most people really carried a bag. Like, people had, I don't remember, to be honest, anybody else like that. Bullish had like a giant like camp, like hiking bag on. I don't know what all he had in there. He must have been like training. He had that thing filled up. But I just had kind of like the gifts I was gonna get. Everybody brought little gifts and stuff, and tons of water, and like 2 granola bars in case somebody was feeling a little, lightheaded, needed some fuel. But I think some of the people ran out of water like on the way down. So thankfully everybody got up with enough water. But Makiki Tiki and Psycho had a whole cooler full of like juices and waters when we got back to the bottom. Yeah. So which I didn't even know. But when we finished and they got the cooler out of the trunk of the van, I was like, you guys are amazing. They are so wonderful. Yeah. They are so wonderful. They took care of us very well.
I got that vibe when I was, talking to Makiki Tiki, and I only got to talk to him for an hour and a half, but you can tell right away. It's like he wanted people to come and do that, and he wanted to meet everybody, and even though he says he's kind of shy, you don't see it, and he's just a gracious person, right?
Very, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
very thankful that he was so welcoming.
Yeah, totally. So when you're up there and you're
Yeah.
actually doing the quest,
Yeah.
what's that experience like? Because, you got all that big group of people. Is it one of those scenarios where everybody like settles down and everybody's just looking at their screen, or what's kind of going on? Because honestly, I mean, we've all seen the video of what happens, but I'm sure there's only going to be a certain handful of players who are actually going to experience that
Hmm.
environment and actually get to see it, firsthand. So do your best to try to
Yeah.
give us the magic.
So everybody gets up at a little bit different speed. I kind of took off at one point because I really wanted to push myself, and like I wasn't running up, but I didn't want to stop as much as some of the others, and I
Mhm.
politely was like, I'm going ahead. I'll see you up there. And
Yeah.
when I get up there, there's maybe two or three other people that are like just shortly behind me. We kind of hang out, we roam around up there, look at everything there is to see, wait for everybody to catch up. And then once the whole group is there, everybody's just kind of taking it in for a little bit. We didn't
Right.
start right away. We let the
You're on
people that
top of a volcano in Hawaii.
right.
You
We don't
gotta
need to
look.
rush this thing. Right.
Yes.
So, we give everybody that just got up there time to relax and settle in. And then finally we're like, okay, people, are we ready to do this thing? And everybody had to do their photo quests, right? So
Mhm.
we had to give everybody time to do that. People wanted to take pictures. And finally we all start to sit down and we kind of form informally, not like anybody said it, but we're basically all in like a circle.
Mhm.
And, uh, we all start clicking into this thing and you can see everybody's QBs coming up on the screen saying,
Right.
two more people needed, whatever. And it fills up and the progress bar starts going and Marvin's mama gets her Bluetooth speaker out. She's got it Bluetoothed with her phone
Oh
so
yeah.
the
Yeah.
audio plays loudly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's other people up there, maybe half a dozen. There's constantly people coming up and going down. So it's not like
Yeah,
there's
that's
like a
your world
huge
now, though.
crowd. Right. It's not like there's a huge crowd, but we are taking up a large
Mhm.
area at the very top. So people are looking at us sitting in a circle. The video starts playing and everybody has their volume the whole way up. And it's roughly almost perfectly in sync
Oh
where
wow.
the
Yeah.
audio from 9 phones and a Bluetooth speaker is so it's loud and
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's like in stereo. And
Right.
I didn't expect that. I thought they'd be all out of sync, or
For sure.
it was pretty close. I mean, there
That's
was a little
awesome.
bit of variation, but it was so cool to hear it, and it felt like we're sitting in this circle drumming on these drums like in the
Mhm.
video. You know what I mean? It felt like we were really doing a
Yeah.
ritual because
Yeah.
we're all
I mean,
looking
you
at each
are
other. We
technically.
are, we are.
Yeah.
We're all looking at each other giddy, and people are coming up looking at us like, what is like
Yeah.
what is this? One guy leans in, he's like, is this like a Pokemon thing? And uh,
Close enough.
yeah, Boswald's or Makiki, somebody that wasn't doing it, that was on the edge, but is just like, yeah, basically,
Yeah.
like, sure.
Yeah.
So we all did that, and I'm giggling the whole time. Like
Yeah.
it's so amusing to me how well that worked and how it felt like we were really part of like a ritual.
Yeah.
Um, so the video plays through, and I'm hardly even looking at the video. I'm looking around at everybody else,
Right.
which maybe I would have looked more closely if I'd never seen it before, but they shared it with us on
That's
YouTube.
right.
So,
Yeah.
I'm glad that I got to see it before because it was more fun to look at everybody's faces and we
Yeah.
were just laughing. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it was just a fun experience to sit and listen to that video together.
Yeah, that's awesome. So after the ritual's done, kind of what happens? What does it give you the blueprint and the wood and just says go on your way, or what?
And
Yeah.
Ethereum, yeah. So you get when it ends,
Oh, and Ethereum.
there's like a it goes to a white screen and three
Hmm.
resource boxes drop, and they are the Hawaii uh, like blue box with the white flowers on it, like
Oh,
from the
awesome.
Hawaii
Nice.
event.
Yep. Hmm.
And there's three boxes, and I think the first one's the blueprint, and the
Hmm.
second one is 100 koa wood, and the third one is 500 anthurium, I
Oh,
believe.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that gets you, what, 25% of the way with the anthurium to
Hmm.
printing it. So I made sure, before I went there, I had at least 1,500 anthurium ready to go so that
Yep.
I could print it as soon as I felt like I wanted. I didn't print it the same day, but I could have, right? I was ready
So
to
you
go.
didn't print it in Hawaii.
I did not.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did not.
And
So
at this, yep. Sorry.
part of this whole I'm going to compete this month, and I knew I was
Yep.
traveling to multiple states, was I wonder how many local leaderboards I can be top 50 on. Not
Yeah.
for the key. Like, I'm only
No.
going to get 5 keys from each state. Who cares?
Right.
Just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the, like, how many is possible? Like, how
Yeah.
many can I do? So I
Fill up
was
the wiki
very,
page. Yep.
yeah, I was very particular about, like, trying to earn leaderboard points in the right states so that
Mhm.
I saved the print for later when
Nice.
I think my headquarters might have been in New York when it
Okay.
was long after I came back and made a trip to New
Mhm.
York City, and I left my headquarters in New York and then I printed it, I think, in Pennsylvania. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
several
That's
days later.
so at this point, you know, this is kind of what the beginning. This is the beginning of the month, essentially,
Yeah,
and
we went on the 10th. So
right.
I had done
So at
9
this
days of walking.
right, and so, but do you know where you are approximately on the leaderboards? Like Falcor is obviously number one up there.
I'm in the 200s or something at
Okay.
that point, I think.
Hmm.
I started behind because I missed a day, and every
Yeah.
day I'd climb a little bit because there's less and less, somebody else misses a day of walking, and
Yeah.
so you climb. But I really
Yeah.
wasn't doing the 2 yellow vaults helped. There was several greens in
Right.
Waikiki, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it was just a slow climb. The volcano quest doesn't, the volcano ritual doesn't give any kind of leaderboard points, and
Hmm. Do you
that's
think it
fine.
should? Oh,
I
okay.
think on a different leaderboard, like not on the regular hunting and opening vaults leaderboard, but on like
Right.
a
A
World
monuments.
Explorer monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about someday doing all kinds of different leaderboards. It should
Yeah.
definitely give you leaderboard points on something, but whatever that something is doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And so, you said at the beginning of the podcast that you have your return flight, kind of booked
Hmm.
and ready to go. So after you're done after you make it down and you open up that cooler, what's happening? Is the day wrapping up and you're moving on to, I think you flew to Phoenix, right? Is that correct?
So yeah, so my flight out of Hawaii, and Marvin's mama and Marvin's house are all leaving Honolulu, the airport there, at 9:10 p.m., that kind of time
Okay.
frame, and
Yeah.
we finished out maybe 2 p.m. So we still had some time till we needed to
Yep.
make it to the airport. We all exchanged our gifts. Let me get this. I printed out these and a bunch of these.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's not going to be in focus because I got this, like, let me turn
You
off.
got
I
the
want to show
blur.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got like
for sure.
the background blur.
No worries. Yeah. You got a nice little background there. I was saying that before the podcast. It looks like you're ready to start your own. So
Yeah, maybe. No. Let
the
me go to the effects here and turn off the background blur and show this off.
yeah, I'd love to see it. Is not a sticker, is it? It's more like a little
No,
poster.
it's like
Oh wow.
I printed out an 8x10 and cut
Oh,
them in
that's
half. So 2 of
awesome.
these came attached on an 8 by
Yeah.
10 and so it's like $3 at CVS to get these
Yeah.
printed. And so it's a little thing. I made 3 different versions of it. I took frames from you can see I have one
Oh
back
yeah.
there as well because
Nice. Yeah.
I have some of the extras. So we all signed it and everybody got one, and people gave out pins and these coins. Everybody brought different
Oh
stuff
yeah.
to share. The 2 local Hawaiians that went with us brought like cookies, um, like
Yum.
Hawaiian, I forget the brand, but Hawaiian made bags of cookies that everybody could take.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but
Yep.
everybody was trading gifts, and it was so that's what we did for half an hour.
Yeah.
We took pictures at the bottom. Bullish had, or maybe it was Baby Yoda's, but had a somewhat like professional, like DSLR camera set
Awesome.
up on a
Yeah.
tripod. We took a picture with that. So just celebrations for
Yeah.
half an hour, and then we
Yeah.
all pile in the cars, and we go to Boswald's house. So
Mhm.
Boswald's was part of the first group that did it.
Yeah.
He came with us to hike. He actually showed up 30 or 40 minutes after we had already started, and he made it to the top about the same time the end of
Yep.
our group did.
So quickly there. How long did it take to get to the top?
I think it took us maybe an hour, hour
Okay.
and a half. Like
Yeah. Okay, that's a big one.
yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
like less than a mile, but it's
Straight up.
it's like
Hmm.
this, and then it's like this at the end.
Wow. Yeah.
So I don't know if somebody
Yeah.
really, if somebody wants to know because they're thinking of going and really wants to know what it takes, just watch the stream. So you
Yeah.
get a reasonable idea of okay, how long did it take the fastest person to go up? Because you can see people in our group. I was one of them getting to the top at a certain point in the video, and then you can
Right.
see at the end of our group how long it took. So if somebody really needs
Yeah.
to know, that would be what to do.
Yeah.
Watch the stream. But uh, yeah, so we celebrate at the bottom. Boswell's is like, come over, swim in my pool, drink some beers, we'll hang out for a little bit and relax, because it was hot.
That
It
sounds
was
good.
starting to
Yeah.
get to the hot part of the day, and it was rough.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we go there. He gives us, it's a couple miles away. He gives us a little tour of the, all the plants that he grows, and, his pool, his garden area. He's got a lot going on outside his house. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And we just hang out for a couple hours, and he's got
Awesome.
a little outdoor hangout area for us. So it was great.
That's so cool. I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking I need to do my walking quests. Like, it's
Yeah.
only the beginning of the day because the reset isn't until tomorrow, but I'm going to get on a plane tonight, and then I have driving to do tomorrow. Like, I need to do my walking quests.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't. I wasn't going to tell everybody like, okay, bye, I'm going to walk back to the
Yeah.
Y, like, which I could have. It's not all that far, but I didn't want to miss the socializing. And
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't, but that's what was
Yeah.
going through my head the whole time.
Sacrifice the walking quest for the time. That's good. I'd probably do the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
You got to be in the moment there.
I did get it done eventually, but it was a lot
Mhm.
harder to do the next day than it would have been to
Yep.
do that day.
Yep. And you might have had to run, get a little extra percentage there. That's how it goes.
What ended up happening is on the next day, I had to interrupt my drive from Phoenix to LA to stop in the middle of the desert and walk in 110-degree heat. Like, I walked in Coachella in that area, and it was hot and sunny, and it was brutal.
That's a Coin Hunt World player move, eh? Getting out of the car, walking for a bit.
I couldn't miss them. Like, what am I? No, couldn't happen.
Well, I guess that, transitions nicely. Okay, so that was fantastic. I think we got a great overview of the Hawaii trip. I'm sure there's more, right? Obviously, you wrote that massive blog. For interview purposes, I didn't want to look at it. Now I will, now that I've heard it.
Yeah.
But it looks very in-depth. There's a ton of pictures on there. I'll have as many pictures as possible, like on the video here, but I was going through the pictures, and the pictures look fantastic, like you were saying, and
Yeah.
holy smokes, it looks really cool. But yeah, you
So
also have the
beautiful
blog
there.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted. So I mean, people were asking me like,
Mhm.
tell me more about, I see you posting all these Twitter pictures of the yellow vault you hit. Like, tell me more about this. And I hadn't been on Discord a lot that week because I was out traveling, and so
Yep.
I was like, I'll write a thing when I get back, and it'll
Yeah.
be long, but if people want to know, they can just look at the pictures, or they can read it, whatever they want to do.
Yeah, totally. So, that's a good transition because you get off at Phoenix. Your plan was to go fill this Coachella vault. Do you want to? I got to do this.
Go for it.
Okay, I got to do this quickly, right? Because there was drama surrounding you filling this vault. Can I just get a quick synopsis? We don't have to go into depth. I just want to, just for posterity reasons, so people know. Yeah.
So while I'm on the Hawaii trip, I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
people, hey, when I leave, I'm going to be flying to Phoenix, and I'm driving from Phoenix to LA, and I'm going to be hitting all these yellow vaults. And
Okay.
because how can I be on this trip with these people and like not mention that I'm going to do that? Like, it'd be
that's
super
pretty
weird
big.
if I
Yeah.
didn't mention that. And like,
Agreed.
I didn't want to like withhold that. So I said,
Mhm.
I'm going to go through Coachella and look there because I think it might be there. Of course,
Yeah.
I know that it's there because I
Mhm.
was told that, but Kata doesn't want people to know that it's there because he's afraid that it might get filled. I was too, to a certain degree, but he stands to lose the construction blueprint, and
Mhm.
I already have that. So
Mhm.
it's not as important to me to keep it a secret, but he found it. He asked me to keep it a secret. So I shared as much information as I could without specifically saying like, I know that it's there.
Mhm.
It was a way for me to talk about what I was doing next without sharing that it was definitely there. And
Yeah. So that's good because you felt weird. That means you felt weird. Yeah.
I was
because
stuck
if you
in the middle
wanted
of
to
like,
share,
do I want to be like I told Kata I wouldn't tell anybody, like,
Mm-hmm.
so I can
So
betray
you're
his
caught.
trust, or
Yeah.
or I can completely not say anything to other people, and that's weird. And so I picked something in the middle, and I knew some people might be upset, and that's it is what it is, and I made apologies to those people.
Yeah.
And it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
So I fly to Phoenix. The flights, Marvin's mom and Marvin's house and I get dropped off at the airport. Psycho 808 dropped us off. Very nice that he was able to do that
Awesome.
for us. Very
Yeah.
thankful again. I try to get more walking quests done around the airport before I board my flight. I get on the
Mhm.
flight. I try to sleep. Not so
Good
easy to
luck.
sleep on an
Yeah.
airplane, but I got a couple hours in
Oh, nice.
overnight, and I land in Phoenix at like 6 a.m. And
Okay.
I
Wow.
hustled to the shuttle, and I didn't have any checked. I had one backpack for the whole trip, like small backpack, everything, so
Nice.
didn't have to wait at any kind of baggage claim. Shuttle bus, 15 minutes, rental car place, nobody's there. It's first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
Super nice guy. The rental car guy and I chatted for a while while we waited for the car to be ready, and got in the car, drove to the Chase Field Yellow Vault. Um, it's in an area that's not busy. I don't there's not a lot of businesses there maybe, or I don't know. There's
I
nothing. It's like
just
7.
for information's sake,
Yeah.
when you say the Chase Field Yellow Vault, this is in Phoenix or
In
Arizona,
Phoenix.
right? Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
in Phoenix.
yes.
Okay. Do they have
So
more than one Yellow Vault? I guess you would have hit it.
they do. They have Chase
Okay.
Field, they have a
Hmm.
botanical garden, and then 15 minutes
God.
away maybe in Mesa, Arizona, they have one at a performing arts center. This is basically 3 and
Did you
3.
get them all? You got them
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one,
Okay.
two, three, and I'm on the highway leaving the Phoenix metro area by 9 a.m.
Okay. Another quick pause. Because this is. I mean, obviously, this story is going to go down in history, but with these these 3 Yellow Vaults in Phoenix, Arizona,
Mhm.
did the RNG QB drop out of any of those?
No,
Okay.
no,
So at this point, right, that's still that doesn't exist,
it
basically.
doesn't even exist in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay. Right on.
right.
So when I'm sure you will, but just when you get there, make sure you say that
I
one
will,
dropped.
and it's
Okay.
close to the end. But yes,
Okay.
I
Oh
will.
wow. Okay.
It
Wow.
is.
Okay.
It
Yep.
was not early on. So,
Awesome.
um, so the 3 Phoenix Yellow Vaults, I stopped for breakfast at a place which was awesome, like authentic Mexican, big breakfast burrito,
Mm.
delicious.
Oh, you have
I
a
left a
picture of
Google
that one too.
review. Yeah, I had to
Oh,
leave a
that means it
Google
was
review. It was
really
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was super excited about that.
Yeah.
Billy Barker saw the picture and he's like, "Hey, that's like 20 minutes from me." It's like,
Yeah.
"Sorry, dude, got to keep moving."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Had to pre-plan that
yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. So after that, it's just a drive, 4 hours through the desert, straight highway,
Mm-hmm.
minimal exits, minimal rest stops. I think I pulled over one time at a rest stop and like tried to get water from the water fountain, and it was like didn't work. And
It
I'm
was
in the middle of the
boiling.
desert and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I stopped
It was
another
a
time,
mirage.
bought like 3 more liters of water because I was just drinking so much that day. But
Yeah.
even in the car with the air conditioner, as soon as you get outside for anything, it's like it's just killer.
Yeah.
Um, but a big part of the reason I was looking forward to this trip was like I've never been in that part of the
Yeah.
country, and
Mm-hmm.
even though it's going to be hot and dry, like I want to see what it looks like. And it's just I talk about it in the blog post how
Yep.
foreign and different it is from what I'm used to, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting to see that difference in landscape and the mountains off in the distance, and it was just amazing. Like I really
And
enjoyed just
in your
walking.
own country too, something so
Right.
bizarre that you've never seen, and it's
Right.
part of.
Especially near the botanical garden in Phoenix. It was
Yeah.
like being on Mars or something. It was just
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, like
yeah.
the red sand.
Yeah, exactly. So I get to Coachella around 1 p.m. and so I'm right on schedule for the I kind of had an itinerary planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Because you were
I
planning on meeting Kata there, right?
Well, not at the same. I would have liked
Okay.
to. Initially, I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, like we could do this drive together." And he's like, "I don't want to do that." He's like, "I want to fly to the airport near Coachella, rent a
Mm-hmm.
car, go back to the airport and fly." But he ended up having to stay there overnight, I think.
Oh.
Like because the way the flights worked out, he couldn't get
Yeah.
into and out of Coachella from Hawaii and back to Maine like on the same day.
Yep.
So he ended up being in that area I think longer than I was, but he didn't have to drive like for 12 hours or
He
whatever.
didn't leave the crime scene, huh?
Basically, yeah. I don't
He
know.
was
I
still
assume he
stuck
got a
there.
hotel somewhere near
Yeah.
Coachella. I don't know.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Right.
so
Okay. So
I wish
yeah,
that the timing worked out, but like I was there and gone a few hours before he got there.
and it doesn't take long at a crane, right? I mean, it
No.
just sucks your resin right out of your inventory.
Yeah.
You're not there for
10,000
very
at a
long.
time.
Yeah.
So I got there. My headquarters was in Phoenix. I moved
Mhm.
it when I landed in Phoenix so that I could start getting leaderboard points in Arizona.
Right.
So the 3 yellows I hit in Phoenix, Arizona leaderboard points, I filled 300. I filled 300,000 resin into the crane while my headquarters was still in Arizona. Coachella's
Okay.
in California, so these
Yeah.
points are going towards the Arizona leaderboard points. Then I dropped my headquarters right next to the crane and put 400,000 more resin in,
Okay.
which
Wow.
counts towards the California leaderboard. So
Hmm.
now I'm pretty far up on both of those.
Okay. Yeah. I think at one point I saw an update that you were number one in Arizona, and I didn't see an update for California. The update afterwards was you moved down to top 10 in Arizona, but
I think I'll hold
and
top
that's
50,
current.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's current.
I think one full row, 10 pucks is equivalent to about 1 day of walking. And I put in for Arizona, I put in 3 rows. So like it wouldn't take more than a couple days for
Yeah.
anybody that was right behind me to get ahead of me.
Wait,
So
you think the conversion is 100,000 resin to 1 day of walking?
I think it's like, isn't it like
I
500
don't know.
leaderboard points for 100,000 resin?
Okay. I
I
honestly
think.
have no idea. Yeah. So
I
you
don't
think
know.
that
I might
that
be wrong.
okay?
I mean,
You're
honestly, it's on the wiki. The wiki says
okay.
100 resin is half of a leaderboard point, so that's 1 puck in a dozer.
Yeah.
So 1,000 would be 5,
Yeah.
and 10,000 would be 50, and
Yeah.
100,000 would be 500. And the general consensus is that a walk eight milestones
About
is
500.
near 500. It's around
Okay.
an epic print, so I think that
That's
works out.
crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
like I put 7. Basically, I put 70% filled this crane, and it's basically
Hmm.
just a week's worth of walking quests. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
really not all that much.
No, not at
Walking is
all.
powerful.
Very. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. So you put 700 into the
Yeah.
Coachella crane,
Yeah.
and did that fill it, or did you
It
leave
was
some
empty when I
behind?
got there.
Okay.
Kata and I talked in advance. He wasn't sure yet how much he wanted to put in, and I said, "Look, you found it. I don't know how much you want to put in. I'm gonna put in whatever you let me, basically."
Hmm.
Um, and so 700. I couldn't have put in a million. Like I didn't have a million, but I had
Hmm.
somewhere 800 some thousand. So 700. I was like, I suggested to him that I wasn't going to spend every single amount of resin that I had, but I would spend nearly all of it. And he was like, "Yeah, 700 would be fine. That leaves me
Right.
enough." And I didn't know if he wanted to put 1 puck in or 10 pucks or fill
Right.
it. We did kind of talk about like, wouldn't it be crazy if we filled it both in the same day? And that was kind of loosely agreed to as maybe what was going to happen, but it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't for sure. Like it was kind of
Right.
balls in his
That
court.
I do have a little bit of a question there, because I just find it a little bit odd that I would understand. I understand in your position, at this point, this is a leaderboard push for
Hmm.
sure. This is a for sure leaderboard push. Basically drop in as much as possible. But then on the other side, for him, he found it for sure.
Hmm.
Definitely, you'd want to, and doesn't have the blueprint, so you definitely want to put something in there. But it would have been,
One would
but
have been enough. You're
one would have been enough. His 300,000, if we're talking about it correct, is 2 days, 3 days of walking.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not much to move you on the leaderboards.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a head scratcher there. Maybe
I
I'll
think it's
talk to him and ask that.
I think it's a bit of a flex. Like, hey,
Yeah.
look, like I have this resin.
It's
I'm not doing like,
an experience thing too, and
yeah.
you're doing this whole adventure. You guys just did a whole adventure. Add on to it by filling a crane together. Okay.
Last year in August, I talked about this on your podcast.
Hmm.
I did a leaderboard push in September that I didn't plan for initially,
Hmm.
and I was talking to you about how I regretted that I put 200,000 resin into a crane in Philadelphia
Right.
at the last week of August, just kind of because I could, because I had 2,000 resin, and it was like,
Hmm.
everybody was like, let's fill this crane. That's exciting
Yeah.
to do. It wasn't finishing it off. It was mostly starting it off, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if there was only if it was 80% full, I would have finished it.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know. I probably would have said something to my local community like, does anybody still need the construction? And that's the piece that was missing here is
For sure.
yeah. We
And
did
and
we did
I
some due
will.
diligence. Like we did
Yes.
make sure everybody that was in our Hawaii group had a construction
Right.
BP, but we didn't go beyond that.
Right.
And that's
And I think that's an unwritten rule, a coin hunt world rule. I'd say. I think it's so I can give you a perfect example of this, right? My local Discord, when we got our crane, we tried to keep it hush hush, but not between ourselves. Like there was like 40 or 50 people who knew because we all wanted to get the construction blueprint. We did have, a person, I mean, I'll name him straight up, Lion Lock. Lion Locks would come through and fill that fucker just by himself if he wanted to, and he would have. So
Mm-hmm.
we did have to keep it a secret. I felt like, so I understand the need to do that. In this case, it for sure wasn't necessary. But I wasn't there.
I think that if the word about the crane got out when Kata told me, I don't know when he found out. I was under the impression that he told me immediately, but I
Mm.
think I heard him say something about finding out about it in like July. So maybe he waited until he told. I found out on August 1st.
Right.
So I don't know when he found out, but if we had made it public on August 1st, there's a possibility it was filled before I got there on the 11th. You know what I mean? Like that was
You were
kind of
saying it was empty
the
though.
worry. It was, but
Okay.
you don't know. I mean, I don't know who's going to go from the LA. Excuse me, dropping stuff over here. Who's
You're
going to go
right.
from the
It's so. I was gonna say I'm not really. I'm trying to think about the big Phoenix hunters, but
yeah
that's probably not the issue. It's
3
more of
hours
the
from
big.
LA, 4
It's
hours from
probably more of the
Phoenix?
LA hunters who could
Yeah,
definitely fill that. Okay, I see a little bit of the worry there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I see it
I
both
don't know what's
sides.
going to
Yeah,
happen. So I'm okay with keeping it quiet
yeah, yeah.
and maybe that's shame on me, but also I'm thinking like how many cranes they had the opportunity to fill. I'm not really thinking about new LA players. I'm just thinking like anybody that needs a construction
Mhm.
blueprint there probably already has one.
Yeah.
So
And filling a crane by yourself has always been an achievement, not a slight, right? So again, what the point of this podcast wasn't to talk about that. It was definitely to get your side of the story, but I feel like it's an important
yeah,
backstory for where you were going there. So Coachella's, so you didn't end up even seeing Kata. You dropped in your 700 and balanced. Okay. So
that was around the time that I decided I need to get these walking quests done. It's only going to get hotter and I
right.
only have a couple hours left. So I did several
Yeah.
laps around the park where this
Yeah.
crane was, and there's not a lot of shade. There's some trees, but it's after a couple laps with the sun beating down on me, I was like, I need to find somewhere else to do this or I will
Mhm.
die. So I got in the car and I drove a couple miles up the road. I saw like a strip mall, bunch of stores, and they got like a overhang where you walk in front of the store. And
Sounds
I
familiar. Yeah.
yeah, I paced back and forth under shade, still 110 degrees, but not direct sunlight. So much more pleasant. I paced for
Yep.
about an hour. People in these stores are probably like, "What is this crazy person doing?"
Yep.
But
Of
I got my
course.
steps in.
Mhm.
But that's significantly delayed, right? So on my
Of
itinerary, my
course.
next stop
Mhm.
was going to be San Diego. I was going to go down to San Diego, get the two yellows there, and then go up to LA. And at this point, there's no way I can do all of that and still get on my flight on time. So
So where are you flying? What time do you need to be where?
I think my flight was like 11:40 or 11:20, something like that p.m. So
Uh,
it's
And where was it? Oh, in LA?
LA. Yeah.
So
So
is there how
so
many cranes? Sorry, I need all this backstory. How many cranes are in, or how many yellow vaults are in California?
the whole state I don't know because
Okay.
San
There's some in the
Francisco and all that,
north.
but there,
Okay. And
yeah.
you didn't have time to get that 6 hours
No,
away from LA.
no,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But
Yeah.
my plan was to do 3 in Phoenix, fill the crane in Coachella, 2 in San Diego,
Mhm.
5 in the LA area. Like Long Beach is
That's
not really LA,
madness.
but it's kind of LA.
That's
So
madness.
yeah, yeah. So that was the plan, and I cut San Diego, so I lost 2 yellow vaults there,
Hmm.
so that I could get to LA sooner.
I see.
And when I got to LA, I did Long Beach Yellow Vault, went
Hmm.
there, did it, right back on the road, keep moving. I went to the Staples Center. They were having an event. I just couldn't find any good parking anywhere close where I could just like pull over and run to it, and I would have had to park so far away or pay like $20. Whatever this event was, there's people standing out on the street, parking this lot, $20, like that kind of, I don't know.
You scrapped that one?
Yeah, I drove around the block a couple times trying, and I was like, this isn't happening.
Arm out the window, the whole deal, trying to get the yellow.
It's not close enough to the street. There was a police barricade. Like the perfect place would have been right where there was a police barricade. Like I could have pulled up right behind the cop, ran to the vault, done it, photo quest, done the vault, got back in the car. But for all I know, he's going to yell at me or give me a ticket, it just wasn't worth it. So
if you got the ticket, you might as well paid the parking.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Scrap that one. Yeah.
And so I scrapped that. The next one would have been Griffith Observatory, but this was literally the one day that vault disappeared. The local players were complaining that, and rightfully so, that it had
you don't get signal
reception. Yeah. So they petitioned to have it moved. It was agreed, okay, we're going to move it soon. That was like a week prior, and like that day, it was in the Discord. Somebody pinged me and said, hey, Griffith is gone. You can't go there. And we're looking for it, and if we find it, we'll let you know. And the day that I was there, it still hadn't been found, and it wasn't until I had already left LA that somebody pinged me. I think Lepidoctora Lepi said, "Oh, it's at Universal Studios or whatever." But I was
already gone.
So I cut 2 San Diego yellow vaults out of my trip, and I lost 2 of the 5 in LA. So I only ended up getting 3 in LA. I went to
you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not complaining. It's just
I know.
Things don't go according to plan, and
that's right.
For as much as I planned it, I'm like, no, this isn't fair. But whatever.
You could have had 4 more chances at that RNG QB earlier.
True.
40 more bucks too, because all of these you haven't hit, right?
Correct. It's all first time questions. Each one gives me a USA country stamp.
Oh yeah, that's also clutch too. I forgot about that.
Each one gives me a photo quest. Every time I flew somewhere and landed in a new city, I got a photo quest.
Oh wow.
Right. So I had my first flight to Hawaii. I had a layover in LA, so I got a photo quest in LA, and then I had a photo quest in Honolulu. And I did 2 photo quests in Honolulu for the vaults, and then a photo quest in Phoenix, and then 3 photo quests at the 3 vault. So it adds up quickly. I think I had to do a photo quest at the crane even.
Was there paint at this time still, or had that change been made? Because I know the change is now it's just resin for a photo quest. Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
Okay.
Or maybe it was just that the amount of resin chain is variable. But when I did all these photo quests, it was a tier 3 resin box. It was paint.
Okay.
And 500 paint and whatever the amount of resin is, I forget.
Which is really good.
Yeah, they were great. I was very happy with all that, and I got a lot. I got like over 20 some for this whole thing. So that was happy. Yeah, very happy about that. So I do all the LA vaults. I'm messaging with Marvin's house, who had flown back to LA the same time that I flew back to Phoenix. He had to work that day, so that's why he left Hawaii when I did, and he works at like a restaurant, and he's like a manager or something. He's like, come to the restaurant, like I'll feed you before you get on your plane. And because I cut San Diego, I was able to do that. So I rush over to this hotel. I've got like an hour before I really need to get to the airport and like return my rental car and make sure I don't, you don't know how long security is going to be.
For sure.
So he buys me dinner, dessert, have a drink. Like it's great. He sits me at the bar with one of his, this is my best bartender. You got to, he'll take care
of
you.
By the way,
kind of thing.
What a guy he is.
Super. I know. Super
Dude, that
awesome.
Guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I loved just how nice everybody was on this trip, and especially him. Like it was so great to meet them. So he took care of me, and I said, hey man, this is great. I really appreciate it. Got to jump in the car and rush over to the airport. I make the flight on time. Security's not bad, and it's the second night in a row of 6-hour flight sleeping on a plane.
So you leave. Wow, that's tough. So like that's taking a toll on your body through that heat, doing the walking quests. So when you leave California, right? You get on the plane and you leave California. Globally, do you know where you're sitting now? You've now dumped 700,000 resin and hit fucking 10 yellow vaults.
That's a good point. when I put all the resin into the crane halfway through the day, I think that got me to second place
Second.
global.
Yeah. I
And
remember seeing you at second. Yeah.
at some point, I don't know if it was when I finished my 8th walking quest or the 3 vaults that I hit, yellow vaults that I hit in LA. At some point that day, I think, is when I got
Jumped
in
to first.
No, it wasn't that day. I take that back.
Okay.
I was in second, even with all that.
Yeah.
I found out a couple days later that I got into first, and I wasn't the first one that noticed, actually. So yeah, I
It's
was
funny
in
how that
second.
happens. Yeah.
I was in second the whole rest of I was in second for a while now that I think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So I'm flying home from LA to Philadelphia, but
Right.
remember the flight that I was able to find had a layover in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So I land in Boston around 8 a.m. Finally back on my own time
On the
zone.
East Coast,
Yeah.
thank God. Oh
And I
my
step
Lord.
off the
And it's
plane.
not bloody hot anymore, you know.
Right. Right.
Like,
I step off the plane and
a little rain would be nice.
right. Oh my gosh, if it was raining, I would not even have cared if I got
No, just
soaking wet.
walking that. Yeah.
Took a shuttle to a subway to Center City, Boston. I come up out of the subway and I'm like, this is an East Coast city. This looks like the East Coast. I feel like I've never been in Boston before, but I feel like I'm home.
Heard it's really nice.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
I wish I could have spent more time there, but
Yeah.
it appears to be a very bikeable city because the first thing I did was I got on a bike share and there's bike lanes everywhere that I needed to go. So it was super quick. You know, those bikes are a little heavy and kind of, I don't know, they're a little bulky. It's not like I wish I had a nice little road bike, but
it's not a mountain bike. Or a road bike, hybrid tires, something.
Yeah. But it's this big, heavy bike that wants to fall over if you lean too far. But I got as quick as I could, a couple minutes down the road, first yellow vault, 20 more minutes on the bike, second yellow vault.
Wow.
Felt like I was Logic Troll out there. You always see, isn't he the one that does the biking?
Oh yeah, he does it crazy. He's got the little tiny BMX too. He'll go in between traffic and scary.
I was not that crazy, but
you felt like that you were doing
that.
I
did. I was like, oh, I'm doing it, you know. And it's not like I even had somewhere to mount. That was the big thing, is I didn't have like a phone mount on the handlebar.
How hard is that?
Riding one-handed, you know. That was tough. Because I need to make sure I'm going in the right direction. I don't know Boston. I'm not playing Coin Hunt so much as I'm looking at Google Maps.
Right. Yeah. Doing both at the same time is tough. Yeah. And it sounds like with this bike, you know, even if you could ride with no hands, like you don't want to, because if that thing falls, I'm assuming you don't have a helmet either.
No, I didn't bring a helmet. They don't give you a helmet to rent. What am I going to do? So
yeah.
So, you know, if I was on my own bike, I would have been perfectly comfortable. I have a handlebar mount. I could ride with no hands and I wouldn't have any issue with that. But so be it. I got there safely. I didn't fall over or crash into anything. I got to Fenway, saw a user vault blimp a lot, name that I recognized.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that was
awesome.
cool. You know, I didn't see many on my travels. In Honolulu, I saw user vaults that I recognized names. But other than that, nowhere else.
Yeah.
Hit the Fenway yellow. I don't know how many I'm up to at this point, like 14 or something, maybe 12.
You're documenting the process though. Every time you hit a yellow, you're taking that Twitter picture, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and
that's
kind of where
edited
people
the tweets to put in like, this is number 10 this week or whatever.
Yeah.
So I hit that one, and my flight out of Boston is in like 2 hours, and you know, however far away Fenway is. And so I quick find the bike share return station, and I jog to the subway, and I buy another ticket, and I get back to the airport shuttle, and I make it to the airport with over an hour until my flight leaves.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the gate. So like I had a 3-hour window, and it took me less than 2 hours from the time that I left the terminal to the time that I was back at my gate. So like it's doable if somebody has a layover in the future and you're willing to do the subway and the biking and all. I mean, I don't know with Boston traffic. I don't know if you could do it that quick in a car.
Right. Yeah.
If you could, it would be expensive, right? To take an Uber to and from an airport, they usually add on fees and stuff. So
there's 2 yellow vaults in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I'm so not used to these yellow vaults just being within biking distance. So it's a little bit of a yeah. So you got 2 there. Back on the flight.
I have Dunkin' Donuts at the airport for breakfast. I get on the last flight of the trip, and I take my last little connection from Boston to Philadelphia. Quick flight, free Wi-Fi. I didn't have Wi-Fi, I think, on any of my other flights, but this one I had Wi-Fi. so I'm on the Discord the whole time, chatting with people
Yeah.
for the first time in a couple days, which was nice to
Right.
feel connected again.
Yep.
And I land in Philly, and there's two yellow vaults in Philadelphia.
Yep. Your home vaults. Yeah.
Yep. So now I'm back to somewhere that I'm familiar with.
Hmm.
I take the train to Center City from the airport, and I walk. I don't know. It's maybe a mile from the train station to the first yellow vault. I thought
Right.
about renting a bike, but I needed to do my walking quest anyway.
Yep.
I get to the first one, and this is the art museum in Philadelphia. Most people would know it as the Rocky Stairs, right? In the movie, Rocky runs
Oh,
up the
right.
stairs and does
Hmm.
the, above his
Yeah.
hand, above his head with his hands.
Yeah. You guys
So
love Rocky there.
yeah, I mean, it's a big tourist thing.
Yeah.
The
Definitely.
statues at the bottom, people take the
Yeah.
picture with it.
Hmm.
So I go up the Rocky Stairs at a normal human walking pace, not running like all the tourists next to me are.
Yeah.
And I find a little spot off to the side that's just barely shaded, and I sit down there, and I'm like about to do I do the yellow vault, and I actually haven't done this one before. The last time I was there was a year ago, a year prior, August, almost exactly a year,
Hmm.
when I had put 200,000 resin in it,
Oh, so you
and then it
hadn't.
got
So this one's
filled.
still another
Yeah,
freebie.
it
Okay.
got filled a couple months later, and I had been to Philadelphia since. I just never really made it there.
Yep.
So I do this question for the first time. I know what the answer is going to be because it's a free one. Um, and the resource boxes drop, and there's a red colored blueprint that comes out of the
Wow.
resource
And
box, and I'm like,
the home yellow vault. Okay.
that's like my favorite place in Philadelphia. I
Hmm.
proposed to my wife about 30 feet from where I was sitting,
Oh, wow.
like 4 years
That's
ago. But yeah,
it
like
all ties up, huh?
that's just that's like my
It
favorite.
was meant
That's
to
my
be.
favorite spot, and yeah, it totally was meant to be. That's my favorite spot in Philadelphia, and that's where it happened. And so this red colored blueprint, and I'm like, what? This can't be right. And I screenshot it real quick,
Yeah.
and I start thinking, and I'm like, is this a glitch? Like this shouldn't
Right.
have dropped from this. So
Hmm.
I had seen it before because for the wiki, we download the Android app onto a
Game
computer,
files,
and
right? Yeah.
we suck all the images out of it.
Hmm.
And that's how we get pictures of the resources and the cubies and the blueprints. And Illusion Weaver knows that we do this, and there's just kind of been this unofficial gentleman's agreement that, like, if we see anything that's not released, we don't say anything. We don't, and I'm not talking like the whole wiki team. This is like me and Marlov see these things, and
Yeah,
like,
but everyone can
right, right.
technically.
Anybody could do this. This is
Yeah.
not like we don't have some kind of special access. This is something that
Hmm.
anybody could do. I'm
Yeah.
not advocating that you do it. I don't know if it's against the terms of service to do it or not, but
Yeah.
the understanding that we had with Illusion Weaver was like, hey, we do this. This is how we get the images. If we ever see anything, like, we're not going to share it. We wait until it's public in the game before we post it. I'm not able to see that and like determine, like, from the picture, like, how you get that thing,
Right.
right?
Of
So
course.
I
Yeah.
saw this image months ago.
Mm.
It's a dice. I assumed it's like something to do with Vegas. Maybe they're going to do like a location quest in Las Vegas. Maybe it's
Mhm.
for the meetup
Yeah.
that we're going to have in
Oh, your
Vegas.
mind would be
Like,
racing if you just saw that. Yeah.
yeah, but I definitely didn't think it was like, especially that it had been in for a while, and like newer versions, then we had a Hawaii event, and then,
Mhm.
newer versions of the app come out and they're still not using it. And I'm just like, it's just something for later, or an idea they abandoned. Like,
Yeah, because there
so
are those as well.
yeah, I mean, there's
In there.
an Uphold QB that
Yep.
you've heard about that's been in the
Hmm.
game files for over a year. The idea got abandoned, and it's just still lives in whatever.
Yep.
Um, anyway, so I recognized what it was, but I thought there's no way this was supposed to drop. What is going on?
Yeah.
I message a mod. I'm like, do you see this? Like, this has to be a glitch. This can't be right. I message Illusion Weaver. I'm like, is this right? I don't hear
Mhm.
back from him initially, but the moderator that I messaged checked with developers, whatever. And meanwhile, while he's doing all that, I start sprinting down the rocky stairs now, like
Yeah.
faster
Oh
than the
yeah.
tourists
The
that are
tr-
doing the rocky run up and down. Like, I'm
Oh yeah.
sprinting with
And you
my
know where the print shop is, right?
correct,
Yeah.
because Alriad lives, I don't know, half a mile
Yeah.
away, and he's got a print shop like right next to where he lives, and
Yeah.
that's where we met to do cauldron hunting
Oh,
before. Like, I've been
nice.
to it before. to
Nice.
meet up with him. And so I'm sprinting across this giant traffic circle called the Oval. It's got like a park in the middle of it. It's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm just beelining it for this print shop that I know where it is.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at my phone, waiting for the moderator to get back to me and say, like,
Waiting for the
okay,
RNG QB to be yanked out of your inventory.
right. Like, is this real?
Yeah.
So I'm running. I get to the print shop. I put it in and it's like, it needs white paint. And I'm like, I don't have any white
You
paint.
don't have any. Okay. Yeah.
But then I just like collapse on a bench on the corner,
Mhm.
little old bench, near a bus stop. And I'm just like exhausted and it's hot. And I'm like, do I move my headquarters? Maybe there's like a white paint auction that could end in the next hour and I
Yep.
could print this thing now. But my headquarters is still in Massachusetts.
Hmm.
And I wanted to finish my walking quests and do the Philadelphia Yellow Vaults to make sure I got enough leaderboard points in Massachusetts that I would stay top 50 for the month,
Yeah.
because it's not like I'm ever going to go back this month.
Yeah.
So I don't want to move my headquarters unless I have to do it to win white paint. So I messaged the Discord and I'm like, is there any white paint with 1 clock? And I'm told no. I'm like, well, I can't print it in the next 24 hours then. It's physically impossible. There's no way for me to win white paint. So I don't move my headquarters. Moderator gets back to me, says, it's legit. You're supposed to have that. It's a super rare drop. You know, we don't know much more than that, but we won't tell anybody you have it. And
here's my question with the white paint comment you made in the Discord.
Yeah.
Now was that one just like in the auction house chat and nobody really was like, why does that guy need white paint?
I did it in Hunter's Hangout and I was kind of like, I wonder if somebody's going to ask me. Like, I wonder if somebody will know, like
Yeah.
I was waiting for that. And then
Mhm.
I think immediately before or after that, I made a comment in the Hunter's Hangout that said, is anybody else having fantastic RNG today? Question
Mhm.
mark. Figuring that anybody who
If
didn't know what
someone
I was
had
talking
it.
about would just be whatever. But if somebody had it, they would DM me and say, did you get something special today? Like,
Yeah,
I got something special today. Like,
Yeah.
trying to feel it out to see
Mhm.
if, but nobody ever bit on that. And I searched for the rest of the day. Every 30 minutes, I was back in the Discord searching for the word RNG to see if anybody announced that they had it. I walked to the Liberty Bell, got my walking quest finished. This is a vault that I've answered before, so I get a question that is just a regular yellow question, and it's a question about a computer that's disconnected from the internet or something.
I know it. It's a crypto. Yeah.
It's crypto.
I know all the crypto questions.
I had heard it on Zach and Beats podcast not that long ago, and so I got perfect. I knew it before the answers even popped up. It was like air gapped. There it is. So this is my 12th perfect in a row, and pretty much the end of my adventure is at that Liberty Bell vault. So yeah, that was the journey, start to finish.
Well, didn't you go to New York though?
So okay, so my wife.
So that's where where you planned on it ending.
That was the planned. That was the planned. That was the end of the planned itinerary. My wife works in Philadelphia. I walk from the Liberty Bell to where she works. We go out for drinks and food with her coworkers, and they're all like, "Why do you look like a homeless person who's been like, you know what I mean? Like
hasn't slept
on a plane 2 nights in a row. Like I hadn't taken a shower anywhere. I'm walking around with a backpack and I'm all sweaty." So, I try to explain to them about this game and they're just like, okay, whatever.
They don't want to hear it.
We get in the car, we go home. I sleep in the car the 1 hour and 15 minutes home because I am just beat. I go to bed. The next day I wake up and it's like, okay, back to normal. Just going to do my normal walking, whatever. And I can't get out of my head that like there's 4 yellow vaults. There's really 5, but one's you need a ferry to get to. There's 4 in New York. And there's 2 in Baltimore and 1 in DC. And like, I'm at 12. Oh, I did 12 user vaults in 3 or 4 days, but like I could make it 7 more. I can make it 19 in a week. Like that would be cool. And so I think about it. And like around 6 p.m. I messaged KSG and I'm like, I'm going to go to New York tonight. Like, wait a little bit. Traffic will be low. Like I can pick you up because he's on the way. It's really not a detour. I'm going to print the RNG QB tonight because I'm gonna win an auction because I'm gonna pay whatever it takes to win that auction.
Of course,
I did overpay, but I wanted first print.
I mean, did you overpay when the QBs are going for over a red key each?
Right. That's
probably not.
I knew that the QBs would go for a lot, so it's overpaying in the context of what white paint costs up to that point. but it's not overpaying in the sense that I know it's still going to be profitable.
And you know what you did with that though? You also unleashed the people like, oh my gosh, that's what white paint goes for. After that, now you can get white paint no problem.
White paint flooded the market after that. I sent a message to a couple people. So here's an important thing to bring up. That morning, somebody else got the RNG blueprint.
That's right.
Because it was still a secret. I wanted everybody to find out by getting I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to print it. Everybody would get a blue envelope that said Khag printed the RNG QB, and nobody would know what the hell that meant. And then I would pull a beardy and not be in the Discord for like 3 days.
See, that would have been funny for sure.
Yeah.
But just to ruin your plan, who was it? I want to say
Red.
Love to Run.
Red 21 go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some a noob. Is this a noob? Someone who's not a regular.
I thought it was, but I think he's been around long enough. Because he and I have been talking a lot since then. But to most people in the Discord, including me, he was a
new person,
an unknown person, new to us. And he announces like, "Hey, I got this thing. What is this?" in a private
with a picture.
Local server. And then the picture starts getting shared, and everybody's like, "That's Photoshop. That's a red blueprint. They changed the word red to RNG. Simple text."
I'll tell you right now. I looked at it and I scrolled right past it immediately. I was like, "There's no way that's real." Anyways.
And I messaged him and I was like, "Do not share the recipe. You and I can get the white paint that we need to print before the recipe's out there and it goes up in price." And I wasn't like. It was just, if he said, "No, I want to," I would have been like, "Okay, whatever." I wasn't trying to like be controlling of it, but it was like, "Hey, I think you shouldn't share this." Yeah. He never saw my DM. He shared it. And then like an hour after he shared it, he's like, "Oh, I just saw your message." And I was like, whatever. It's fine. Yeah. No big deal. We'll have to pay more for white paint, but so be it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I printed it, I would have shared the recipe. Maybe I would have tried to win like one more auction, but I wasn't gonna leave it a secret forever. I've always been like a fan of, we should share information once it's known that this QB exists. Like let's share about it.
You're a large part of the wiki team too, so it'd be a little little bit strange to have that on there, no recipe, and it.
Yep, it would definitely be definitely be strange.
Like, come on, man, fill it in.
Yep. And actually, same thing with the crane. That it was weird for me to know where that crane was and not be excited to put it on the wiki. But I told Kata when he asked me to keep it a secret, I said, if anybody else comes to me and says, "Hey, the crane's at this spot," I'm gonna put it on the wiki. Like, absolutely. I have to, because I'm not gonna intentionally like sabotage that. Somebody comes to us with information that they want to be public, even though it ruins my run at the leaderboard if it gets full. If somebody knows where it's at, I will put it up there. I will be very sad about it, but I'll do it.
Yeah. So that's good. I like that.
Anyway, we're talking about going to New York. I pick up KSG. I drop my headquarters.
So quickly, so you meet KSG. So you're the first person to see his face.
No, well, Beats and I hunted with him.
Oh, okay, right. Oh yeah, you did the stream with him. I forgot.
For like Christmas, maybe.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you did the stream. Yeah, you streamed it. I remember that. So you had seen him before. Okay.
Yes. And he gave me a referral sticker that I took with me to Hawaii, and I put at the top of the volcano.
We'll put a picture of that right here.
Yeah, because
so you can see that.
I thought it was cool, and he ended up thinking it was cool as well that his sticker had traveled all the way across, the country and halfway across the Pacific Ocean to a place that he has never been and may never even go, but his sticker's there. And so we thought that was pretty cool. And I didn't have a referral sticker of my own, so I wanted to put somebody's up there.
It's probably a good spot to put one.
I hope so. Somebody was eyeballing it before we even left, so
hopefully they have an Android.
Yeah, I don't think he did, but I talked to him. He said he's got an old one at home. We'll see. I don't know if KSG got that referral or not, but anyway, I pick up KSG. I drop my headquarters in New Jersey, where he's from, and I win I said, we got to wait like 15 minutes. This auction's going to end any minute now. So very tight time frame. Like, I had to leave home by a certain point to get to somewhere I could stop and put my headquarters down to win an auction. I win the white paint. I say, take me to the nearest print shop. He starts streaming. We print the RNG QB live. People start asking to, does it give extra resources? Does it do anything? Because the implications are like, it has something to do with RNG. Maybe it changes drop rates.
Sure.
in the end, that's just its name. It's just cosmetic.
It's
doesn't
because
do
you had good RNG to get it.
It's about how, it's celebrating how difficult it is to get. It doesn't have any passive or active.
It's essentially an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I print it. That gets me some leaderboard points. We head to New York. We do the Brooklyn Pier Yellow Vault. We do Washington Square Park Yellow Vault. Somewhere around that time, we go get pizza after that. Somewhere around that time, and he's streaming the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he tells me, we might have been in Central Park when he said, you just passed Falcor.
Oh.
And I am, at that point, I have moved my headquarters again out of New Jersey and into New York because I want to get as many states as I can. So I assume he's looking at his local leaderboard to tell me where I'm at on the New Jersey local leaderboard. The name that he said didn't register to me. I just thought I just heard that I passed somebody. I was like, okay, great. I'm moving up New Jersey leaderboard. That's awesome. And then like a minute goes by and he says it again, like, because I didn't react very in an interesting way. He says, you passed Falcor. And I said, oh, and I checked, and I'm number one global. So sometime during the New York 4 yellow vaults that we hit is when he informed me. And so that was pretty exciting. And Falcor and I messaged a little bit that night. And he basically said, like, good job. You know, that RNG you printed must have been an epic. And I was like, no, but you know, you get double points for first print. And I went to New York and hit a bunch of yellow vaults. And he's like, well, there's no way I can pass you again. Like, you've got it locked down. And then I think he went out and did his walking quests, because later that night he did pass me. And when I was getting back home, it was like 3-4 in the morning after this New York trip. I dropped off KSG and I went home, and I wanted to print more RNG QBs so that I could list them in the auction house, you know, first thing Sunday. And so I went to the Target parking lot at like 4 a.m. and finished my walking quests, walking around the parking lot, printing RNG QBs. And he was still ahead of me. And so I said, now's the time to print the Tiki Chief.
Epic,
because that's epic. So I printed that, and that put me ahead of him. And I've been ahead of him ever since. But I messaged him and said something like, yeah, you know, you're screwed, bud. I got the next 2 weeks off work and nothing better to do. And that wasn't true at all. I think I said that when I was still with KSG to get some
mind games,
out of his stream. His stream comments, they seemed to the chat seemed to like that. But I waited a couple hours, and then I messaged him. I was like, I was just pulling your leg, man. Like, all I'm doing after this is walking quests every day. So if you have even a couple epics, like, you could get ahead of me. Don't give up. Don't stop doing your walking. And I think he said, you know, he doesn't have the prints to make it happen. So I don't know if that's true or if he's just, but I was transparent with him. I was like, all I have left is walking. I'm going to try and do some more yellow vaults at the end of the month, but I'm basically just walking from this point forward.
That's right. And if you've listened to the podcast I did with him, he didn't give a lot away. Obviously, I think it was a good idea now that, because at the time I was like, there's no competition, right? There was basically no competition. And so I was curious, but it turned out a good play for him to not give away his strategy. He did say, however, that he has a couple things up his sleeve.
That's what I
remembered. And that's what, that one stuck out. So it could be a battle coming down to the end. I'd like to say, it always is.
At the beginning of your episode, he did say the only thing that anybody could really do to pass me is if somebody finds that last USA crane and fills it. Like, that was word for word said in the pot. And at that time, it was a couple days after August 1st, the day that I learned of the crane. So I'm listening to the podcast like, oh, he's talking about me. Like, that, I already know that I'm intending to go do that. So that made me laugh. But I mean, that's what happened. Like, I tried to calculate what would be enough to stay ahead of him. 700,000 was about all that I was willing to put in anyway. So it all just kind of worked out to just barely be enough, because like I said, he was still ahead of me, and I only just barely eked out ahead of him, and he may still pass me. So
that's right.
And you know what? Second place wouldn't be so bad. Like,
no,
I didn't expect to be first from this.
There you go. So as someone who is now first, you know, you've done a leaderboard push in the past, third global. I need some advice. So Zach has publicly basically challenged me to try to beat him on the leaderboards, which I'm finding difficult. Like
Yeah.
it's real tough. It's funny because every time I do my walking quests, I shoot up. It seems like he's just got some sort of script or something that's like, oh, IT guy passed you, time to go out and hit some more vaults, Zach. So every time I'm above him for like 45 minutes, he somehow scoots ahead of me again. I need some advice on how to beat him. What do I do?
I
Do
mean,
I
the easy way out is to go to Thunder Bay,
uh,
right?
is there a confirmed crane there?
Yeah.
Okay, I have 100. I guess. Okay, maybe I won't say how much I have, but it's time to start buying resin. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I mean, that would be the most straightforward way, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what I
Mm-hmm.
like. The only thing I got the Tiki print. Okay, that's helpful. I got the RNG print. That's helpful. But I didn't have any prints saved up. I just had a big amount of resin and access to a crane that had
Right.
open space.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simplest, most straightforward way. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. Is he getting referrals? I don't know that he's that high on the referral leaderboard. He's
If
probably just doing a lot of greens.
if you listen to his podcast, he said that he went out and hit 46 green vaults.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Pardon me. I have two. I hit one a day.
Well, I think Beats does 6 or 7 or 8 a day
Mhm.
on average, and does his 8 walking quests. He doesn't go to yellows all that often, although he did
Mhm.
go with me
Yeah.
to Baltimore and DC the day after I went to New York.
Mhm.
But other than that, and he's maybe eighth global,
Yeah.
ninth
He's
global,
up
something like
10th,
that.
I think. Yeah. Yeah. He's
And
doing really
Zach's
good.
a couple behind him. So like,
That's right.
and how is Zach behind him if Zach hit 40 whatever green vaults? Like, that's nuts.
He did really good. Well, what happened was after that late night of me hitting a bunch of yellows and only getting perfects, I shot ahead of him. And then, not even 45 minutes, like we got back
You
and
did those
me
yellows and he already passed you?
on the way back, he passed me. And then I'm like, what happened here? That's what I'm
I
saying. Like,
can't
and
believe that.
well, I think what happened, it was around midnight. So what I
Yeah.
think happened was he went out and did some of his walking quests, passed me, and I hadn't done any because I was in a car. So I
Yeah.
think I was still technically ahead, but
Are you going to do your 8 today?
oh yeah, I do my eight
Okay.
every. So I've done
Yeah,
my eight
I thought
every
so.
day. Yeah, I do my eight every day. It's the limiting factor is the amount of vaults I can hit. Right, I
Yeah.
hit like 20 to 40 vaults plus 2 green vaults a day. That's not enough to compete with Zach. So I'm relying on some tricks and
Yeah.
something. So I was trying to get some advice here. Thunder Bay is a 15-hour car ride for me.
I know. Like that's the cheat code, right? If you want to do it. But other than that, like
Mm-hmm.
ask Beats. I'm not normally at the top of the leaderboard. I
That's right.
I just did a resin dump that is
Mm-hmm.
super rare and difficult to do nowadays. So I got shot to the top. And
That's
all
exactly
the
right.
yellow vaults help, but even if I didn't do that string of, I think I ended with 18 total yellows. Even if I didn't do that, the 700,000 resin would have put me in the top 5 even
Oh,
without
for
the
sure.
yellows, I think.
I
So
mean, I think the yellows would have done that.
yeah, maybe, I don't know
Like,
what is whatever. I didn't get perfect on all of them because some of the New
mhm,
York ones were not first questions, but
mhm,
let's say 15 roughly perfect yellows. Like what is that? That's 15 or 100 each, 15 1,500. So that's like 3
yeah,
epic prints
right.
roughly.
That's
So I mean
pretty
that's
good.
pretty solid.
Yeah. So I have a couple tricks up my sleeve. I'll message you later. I can't say it publicly or else this guy. No, he's got some sort of like thing against me. I shouldn't have talked shit because
Yeah.
now he just wait. I know he doesn't care about placing. He just wants to
He
be
just
above
wants to
me.
beat you.
That's all it is. And now I'm taking that super personally.
Wouldn't it be cool if they had like in-game like bets where you could like face off against another player and you could each put like, I'm going to put down 5 yellow keys and you're going to put down 5 yellow keys and whoever places ahead at the end of
Winner
the
takes
month
the 8. Yeah.
takes like
Yeah.
8 or 9 and the
Yeah.
game keeps some head-to-head challenge sign up
Oh,
would be cool.
that would be really cool. That would be used a lot.
Yeah.
And I bet you that would like increase activity, increase game time.
Yeah,
Could
because
be a
there's
serious.
people that are like, "Oh, I don't care about the leaderboard because if you don't
Yeah.
get top 5 global, who cares?" But like,
Right.
you could be 1,000th global competing against somebody else that's a casual player who's
Yeah.
1100th,
Yeah.
and you're both now interested in the global leaderboard, even though
Yeah.
you're nowhere near the top. You both have something to gain out of it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
you might
that's right.
only want to gamble 20 blue keys, or you might want to gamble, 2,000 keys. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it would be completely up to the player to like set whatever price, as long as both parties agree and the game takes a fee.
Exactly. Wow. I guess I kind of we got through all of your content, which is crazy. Took an hour and 40 minutes,
I know, I'm
but
sorry.
no, I wanted it to go long, because I think people were interested and they wanted a
Yeah.
deep dive. And they obviously have your blog to listen or read, but now they have the
Yeah.
podcast to listen to.
Yeah.
So I think it was really informative, and I just think your trip was badass, epic. Everybody's jealous, so
I'm
I
very
hope you did.
happy that all of that worked out. And even if I wasn't going to, the crane is what caused me to make the trip happen this way. But
Yeah,
in hindsight, even if the crane wasn't there and I wasn't doing a leaderboard push, this still would have been fun to do, hitting all the
absolutely.
yellows and having a road trip. So
Mhm.
like, anybody that's listening to this and thinking like, oh, that would be cool, but I don't have a crane to like, you don't have to do a
Not
crane.
about
It
that.
doesn't have
Yeah.
to be for a leaderboard push. You could just go do all the yellows. Did the yellows Was it profitable? No. Like, I had to
No,
pay
of
to rent a car. I had to pay to
course.
change my return flight that was already booked. But
Hmm.
it offset the cost of some of that. And if you are careful with your planning and you book your tickets in advance to get to a place and then make a road trip on the way back home or whatever, like, you could really pack in a lot of hunting and stop, plan it out, give yourself time to stop and meet other players in those
That's right.
cities.
Yeah, and they're
Meeting
willing to meet.
locals.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody
Yeah.
wants to meet. Oh, you're coming to
Yeah.
my area, like,
Yeah.
let's meet up.
That's exactly.
So, coin hunt, road tripping, and planning to meet your fellow players should be more of a thing than it is. And I don't think I fully did it right. I should have spent more time stopping to meet people. But I learned.
So I guess that gives me a great transition to the follow-up question. Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I would do it
Nice.
differently. I would try to make it take longer. Um, Obviously, I mean, not maybe it's not obvious. I would want to take a different route and hit new yellow
Yeah.
vaults, right? And
Oh,
like go to new places.
the best part about it is that it's the free $10, especially if
Yeah.
it's your first time. You're getting perfect no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, I really like this. Like, also, you can go on months that, because of this 10 category rotation.
Hmm.
What I was telling to my, little local group who are doing this mission is that, if one of us studies one category,
Yeah.
we're experts in that one category, and we're always going to get a question from that category. So, well, you could
Everybody
do that
take a
too.
different category, you group up,
Exactly.
and you're statistically very unlikely to get stuck with a category that nobody knows.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
it's
would be interesting if they shared a month or two in advance, like,
what
hey,
the cat. Yeah.
September's categories will be this and October's categories will be this. And I can be like,
That's right.
oh, I love October's categories. I'm going to plan a road trip
Plan something.
some
Yeah.
weekend in October
Hmm.
and go hit 6 yellow vaults over
Yeah.
in this place 2 states over. And like,
Exactly.
by knowing the categories in advance, that you might be more inclined to do something like that. I don't know.
That's right. And before we wrap up, I do have one last thing. I think it's a little important to touch on, but also you're involved in it, so I can kind of get the full details from you here. Is the wiki contest,
Yeah.
with the game. This kind of came out of nowhere, and I was even talking to the owner of the wiki.
He didn't tell you
Kept-
yesterday?
I had some hints, but
Yeah.
this is super cool. So, essentially the contest is to spread awareness for the wiki, I guess. But can you give me some more details? So how do we accumulate points, and what can we win?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it came about because, is my microphone crackly?
Yeah, you know
I'm
it.
hearing some feedback. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, you got it.
All
Don't
right.
worry.
It came about because both Marlov and Illusion Weaver felt that there wasn't enough kind of collaboration. Like, we're not an official wiki, but there should be more cooperation between the two. We
Yeah.
felt so, to kind of make that happen. Illusion Weaver suggested to us that they do some kind of contest, that they could give some prizes to us to give out. I mean, not give
Yeah.
them to us, but we'll run the contest. They'll give out the prizes.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of up to us to figure it out. So the things you can do, we said, we want to generate usable content for the wiki.
Hmm.
Maybe we could let people like make their own player pages.
Right.
So this whole thing is a raffle. You get raffle tickets through different actions. At the end, we just draw, random number generator, draw different tickets. Whoever's ticket numbers get called wins one of these prizes.
Yep.
3 points for filling out this Google form that you can create your own player page. Once the contest is over, I'm going to take all that content and actually have to generate those player pages.
I mean, that's awesome, but it sounds like a lot of work for you, but that's pretty cool because everybody else is now going to get a chance to have
We'll
a player
automate
page,
it.
which is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll automate it. There'll be a
Mhm.
template. It'll just fill in what people fill
Yeah.
out. And
That's
then,
nice.
you can go look up your future guests, like you go on their wiki
Exactly.
page and look at their results.
And by the way, I use that every episode.
I know you do. You
Freaking
said it. So
every
like I want to
episode.
make sure we have it as many
It's
of those player pages as
it's
we
a
can.
great resource.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The other thing you can do, we have a blog now on the wiki. It's our vision that anybody that wants to write Coin Hunt World related content and have our audience, right? We have a lot of eyes on the wiki. If you want our audience to see what you've written, you can write an article and say, hey, will you post this on the wiki blog? Like, forget about the contest, just in general. Like, we want that to happen. So to kind of kickstart people to say, yeah, I want to write for the wiki, we're going to give out 10 raffle tickets for anybody. I think it's double check with Marlov if you want to do more than one. He's going to be the one receiving and reviewing these. But I think if you write more than one, we'll give you 10 per article.
Yeah.
But obviously it needs to be quality. You can't just throw 2 paragraphs of garbage on a page and say, here's a blog article. So, that's the other big way. Everything else is one raffle ticket. It's basically every day he's going to tweet something like, share your favorite meme or what's a wiki page that you find really useful or whatever. Yep. So just follow CHW_wiki on Twitter. Keep an eye on the posts that he does every day. And when he does a post that says to do a thing to get a raffle ticket, you reply to the post and do that thing.
And you're going to want to do this because what are the prizes?
Right.
Yeah.
So
wait. Before you say the prizes. Okay. The prizes are blueprints. I'll let you say which ones, but this was one of my sneaky ways of trying to pass Zach. I need to win this. So go ahead. What are the prizes?
So I don't know if I should start with like
start with the bottom tier.
The bottom tier. So we have one. I don't know which is the bottom. I guess the Cat QB blue. We have 10 Cat QB blueprints, randomizer, and 10 Tiki blueprints, also a randomizer. So those I think we'll raffle off first.
Those are good.
Yeah.
I have not printed any cats, so I would like some of those too. Every bit helps, every common blueprint helps.
That's right. I mean, if you can squeeze some leaderboard points out of it, absolutely. So 10 of each of those, we'll raffle those first, and then we'll raffle off an Ice QB blueprint, a Summer QB blueprint, and a Pizza QB blueprint. So those are the 3. Are those all rare, or is one of those common?
The pizza's common, but the other two are rare. So those are fantastic prizes.
Exactly. So the thought here is that since we're doing the the common blueprints first, if somebody wins one of those and then they get drawn again for the next one up, we'll give them the higher prize and redraw the lower prize. Nice. So nobody can win more than one, but don't be discouraged if you win the common prize, because if you get drawn again with a different raffle, then you win the better prize.
Awesome.
And then so the last, the top prize, which the more tickets you have, the more likely you are to win it, but not guaranteed, is the Pirate QB blueprint. So that's
huge.
That is a big deal. And if you don't have that and you wanted to pass a player on the leaderboard, that might help you do that.
Maybe. It certainly would. And not only that, but I'm thinking about, the Pirate QB is one of those ones that came with the shark. It's a shop drop. It wasn't coveted because when it first originally came out, because nobody really had the keys to do so. But expensive. if we're looking at what happened with the shark, this might be your only opportunity to get one too.
Right.
So because I'm sure the Pirate's going to sell out as well.
Yeah.
And now there's one less as well. I think do you think they'll probably take it from the shop amount?
I think that Illusion Weaver's like hard set on like 500.
500. Yeah.
But
So
who knows?
yeah.
Honestly, players leave the game from time to time, so
Yep.
it wouldn't be like, even if he didn't decrease the shop number, there would still be less than 500
Some they
in
go down.
use in active
Yep.
accounts. So
Hmm.
so I don't know.
I know of a
I
few.
Yeah, they're sitting
Yeah.
there in either banned accounts or
Hmm.
just players that don't play anymore. Like, they're out
Exactly.
there and we'll never see them again.
That's exactly true. All
As long
right.
as it doesn't happen with a legendary blueprint, we're
No,
fine.
it certainly won't. Now I gotta get it. Are you gonna go after that? Are you gonna go after the legendary QB for QB Air?
I am gonna, presumably at this point, I may not get first place, but I should get some red keys, right?
Yeah.
Unless I break my
To
leg and
spend.
can't do my walking quests, right? Like, knock on
Yeah.
wood, but
Yeah. Don't
I
do
should have
that.
some red keys. And I'm torn between, buying things on the auction house, but I think I will spend several reds on boarding passes for QB Air. Like, I
I'm in the boat.
I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like, I'm really going for the legendary because it's honestly, it's entirely based on what questions you get. Like, there's
It
really not
is.
much you can do to
Hmm.
prepare. You just hope that you get good questions and
Good
answer
category. Or
quickly. And
yeah.
if you don't, like, maybe you don't do it early. Maybe you save a couple red keys for the last day so that
Yep.
you can see where you are, and then in the last hour of the contest, you try and do it 2 or 3 more times and
Yep.
get to the top of the leaderboard. I don't know.
That'll be the play.
How many
I'm
people do
sure.
you think, like, if in total, if there's 3,000 red keys, I'm going to come up with some ridiculous number.
Yeah.
3,000 red keys, each one's basically an entry into the QBR contest.
Yeah.
Of those 3,000, like, what percentage do you think comes in the last hour of the event?
Oh, in the last hour? Oh, a lot.
Like half, right?
50%. I was gonna
Yeah.
say more than 50,
Like,
but 50% to be
yeah,
fair, to be
yeah.
safe. Yeah, for
Everybody's
sure.
going to wait till the
I
end.
will do that.
Yeah, you do
I'll
it once or twice early to see
get a
where you're
feel
at,
and get a
and then
feel
everybody's
of
just
what it's
doing it at
like.
the
Yep.
end.
Yeah.
And is it just kind of luck who ends up in first? Like, oh, they lucked into a red question that they've seen before, and so they can
Right.
just immediately. I don't know how that's going to work, but
Me neither, but I'm excited for it, and it's coming soon.
and every time you buy one of these boarding passes or use one of these boarding passes, you're getting crypto back. If you're half decent at trivia, hopefully it's at least a yellow tier, if not a
Right.
red. So,
Yeah. You are getting probably at least 10 cents, hopefully.
I mean, if you have enough keys to be buying boarding passes and you're not already doing like blues and green, like, you should be able to get through the blues and greens
Yeah.
without
Right.
losing more than one life. And
Right.
so if you have 3 lives to do the yellow, like, you should be
That
able to
should
get
be.
at least the yellow right with 3
You're right.
lives. That's my
Yeah.
thought.
Yep. I think you're right.
But
Let's
anyway,
wrap it up here.
yeah,
Hour and
let's.
50 minutes. So, Kevin, thank you for coming on the show for the second time. What you did for this month is pretty extreme and amazing. I think that everybody else is jealous of you. And I think everybody's now rooting for you to win. I told Falcor I was rooting for him, but I didn't know you were in the mix. So now I'm excited just to see a battle. So
I'm still rooting for Falcor to make
I'm
it a
sure.
competition. Like, I want to
Yeah.
win, but I hope he pushes me.
Exactly.
I hope
He
on
wants
the
to be a
last day
challenge.
I'm like, maybe I need to go do some extra.
Yeah, exactly. So
we'll see.
yeah, thanks for coming on. I think it's I don't need to say this, but I will. Thanks for everything you do for the game.
Oh,
Obviously, that comes hand in hand with what you do. So
I
just
appreciate saying that.
Yep.
and giving me the opportunity to tell my story here today.
Yeah.
And I look forward to your listeners going out and doing their own coin hunt world travels and us getting to hear
Yes.
about them here on your
Exactly.
podcast in the future.
Exactly. All right, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you later.
See ya.